Some Celsius varieties, like Celsius Essentials, can have up to 270 milligrams of caffeine per can, while Celsius Heat may contain 300 milligrams.
I am 100% sure that everyone I work with would be happier if they didn't drink their Celsius past me.
Meanwhile,
Don't listen to me.
all of our lawmakers on Capitol Hill are mainlining this shit. That's right, in case. Here we are, Abe Cast Iron Balls, a podcast about sports. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah, here we are. Lori's here too. How you doing tonight, Lori?
I'm thirsty, but my tea's too hot.
Lori is thirsty, but her tea is too hot. Probably exacerbated by all of our pre-show banter about Celsius energy drinks.
Yeah, like that sounds really good right now.
I could go for one.
No, it's too late.
Why don't you send us a case, Celsius?
They're not listening.
Get in touch with our audience.
That's right.
Tonight is not a Monday.
Audience?
Thursday, January 16th, 2025. Halfway through January already. More than, in fact, what the fuck happened? Where did it go? How did we get here already?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's been a lot of news, a lot of deaths, a lot of fire, a lot of destruction, a lot of terrorist actions. But it does feel like it's kind of gone by in 2 weeks.
Man, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it, Abe? You sick fuck. Abe, it's now time to live bet the games. It is Cast Iron Balls. That means you have to live bet the games. Abe, you are on such a fucking heater
What
here.
a stretch run.
It's disgusting.
It feels like
I don't
a
even
million
know.
years ago that I was underwater, and now I am comfortably above it.
At one time in our game, you were 11-15.
Yes.
4 games under 500 at 11-15. You are now 24-17. That is a run of 13-2
Very good work, Abe.
in straight up games.
Congratulations.
Now, granted, this is straight up. This is money line betting, basically. So I did not keep track
That's
of
true, yes.
where the money line was when you made the bet. Which, obviously, if we could restart this from the beginning, you throw down $5 or $10 on every single game where Abe live bets the games, and at this point, 8 games over 500. Even if you're picking mostly favorites, we're probably at least breaking even at this point.
That's true. But then
pretty good.
give it time, everybody. The wheels will fall off.
Tonight, there's no football action whatsoever, but there is, oddly enough, an NBA game between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Cleveland
Feels like a
Cavaliers.
redo of last time.
Yeah,
Wow,
which
okay.
you called last time out. Have you seen any updates on this game yet, Abe?
Not as yet. But, last time it was a home game for Cleveland, and it was an easy Cleveland win, or at least I predicted that. And now it's the other way around, right?
That's right. Tonight, the game is in Oklahoma City. These are 2 high-flying teams in the NBA, both well over 30 wins at this point. The Cavs, I think, on pace for like a 70-plus win season at this moment.
They're not going to get there, but yeah, they're on pace.
Oh, is that a...
Yeah, definitely. Pound the under on the 70 over-under.
Ooh, little bonus action here on Abe Live Bets the Games. Who you got in tonight's game, Abe? The game, as you said, this time in Oklahoma City, in front of a more favorable crowd for the Thunder, who got fairly well trounced, I believe, in the fourth quarter. The last time out against the Cavs. Who you got tonight?
Going with a home team, OKC. They will avenge their previous defeat. Easy.
At the moment, 7 minutes to go in the second quarter, the Thunder are up 52-31 now with 6 minutes to go. So.
Look at that. Although that means nothing in the modern NBA.
That's right. That's like 3 possessions, and all of a sudden they're right back in it. All right, that's Live Bets the Games. Anything else going on in your life, Abe? What's going on this week?
Same old, same old. Nothing has changed since Monday.
Well, that's good. All right, quickly through some headlines here before we get to our game previews. First up, we should note the passing of 2, one sports-related, one non-sports-related, unique American voices in the pop cultural space. Bob Uecker, 90-plus-year-old Bob Uecker, the longtime voice of the Milwaukee Brewers. He was a thoroughly mediocre Major League Baseball catcher. There's a Major League Baseball player for whom the concept of hitting below a certain batting average is named. It's called the Mendoza line. Bob Uecker hit 200 in his short career as a catcher, which is the Mendoza line, which is not fair to Mr. Mendoza, considering that
The phrase originated when he was consistently hitting below 200 and then actually finished his career with a 215 batting average.
Bob Uecker, a much more famous baseball personality, hit a mere 200 in his years as a Major League ball player. A beloved fixture in Major League Baseball, hired by Bud Selig to be the voice of the Milwaukee Brewers just a year or two, I believe, into their existence as a franchise there in Milwaukee. And
My cousin owns them.
been around ever since. A sad day for Lori's cousins.
Oh, I did
Presumably.
not realize until much later that Bob Uecker was actually related to anything in real life baseball. I just thought he was just an actor from the movie Major League.
From the movie, he was also in a sitcom in the 80s
Which
or
movie?
70s and 80s. He was in Major League. He was the
Major League, yeah, okay.
the dour and
Yeah.
sarcastic
Yeah.
play-by-play man in Major League and Major League 2.
I just couldn't place it for a moment.
So the Tribe drops its third straight on this trip, 6-1 to the Rangers. For the Indians, one run on, let's see, one hit. That's all. We got one goddamn hit.
You can't say goddamn on the air.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
I did not. He was on a TV show, like
Yeah,
a
he
popular
was-
show.
Let me look it up here. It was Mr. Belvedere was the name of the show.
That makes sense. I remember Mr. Belvedere.
And I don't know how long it lasted. It was a
Mr.
good
Belvedere
few
was
years.
on for a while.
Wow.
I don't remember ever watching Mr. Belvedere. From 1985 to 1990, sitcom Mr. Belvedere appearing regularly.
Wow.
A beloved and popular figure, a wonderful guy to listen to call a baseball game if you ever had the chance to. People get weird and special relationships with the guys who call
Yeah,
the
you.
baseball games every single day, because it's not like when you watch. So in the NFL, obviously, you get fucking like Kenny Albert or whatever, and it's like it's not special because Kenny just goes to wherever like the third best NFL game that Fox has that week, right? Or whoever he's working for these days. And so maybe you end up where, for whatever reason, so-and-so NFL announcer ends up on your game half the time.
Right.
But you don't like develop a relationship with these guys. It's 3 hours on a Sunday. And same goes for the NBA, I guess, unless you're like a big fan and you listen to the radio calls or what have you. Like you just get whoever's showing up on television to call the game.
Right.
And I guess like there's I don't even know. I've never followed an NBA team enough to know whether or not you build some sort of a rapport with your NBA announcers.
Well,
but
it's
with
just that there's no local. Baseball's the only one with like the local broadcast.
And
Right.
they just have so many games and like
Because there are so many fucking games.
Yeah.
You have to have a dedicated full-time crew.
right, and they are your direct access link to the team also, because they travel with the team usually. Like the radio guys and the TV
Yeah.
guys are on the team bus or they're on the team airplane at the very least. And it used to be they would sort of be much closer, I think, than they are these days, obviously. But like I loved the Braves announcers that I used to listen to all the time, especially Skip and Pete. And people developed these very, like, you know, as Uecker would say, they invited me into your homes for 50 years, become part of the family in some way.
now that's a big thing in baseball, but I wonder if this is just a thing from the past. You know, because like even like with football, like Larry Munson, like in the past, these broadcasters were around for so long that you would develop these parasocial relationships with. But now with these TV contracts, and you can't keep up with who's broadcasting which
But you
game
still
anymore.
have.
And the thing
your
with Munson
home
was that
crew.
the thing with Munson is that like
That
he
was
would
radio.
It was radio, so that first of all it feels intimate for whatever reason. On top of that, but also Munson would do like the daily like 90-second or 2-minute hits on your local radio station. Like if you have a local sports talk station, they might pick up Larry Munson's fucking 2 minutes brought to you by so and so auto body repair shop. You know. where he gives like a 90-second take on the sports news of the day, and so like that builds the rapport also.
Yeah.
And you know, you get to know, because those fucking Georgia radio broadcasts were like 7 hours long. Like they start at 9 a.m, and he's dealing with Lauren Smith, who's like Jimmy Carter's age. Like, Lauren, what do you got? And Lauren is like describing flowers that he's found beneath the hedges there. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Lauren? We're trying to do a football program here. Back to you, Larry. Okay, thanks, Lauren.
What's funny is that back, I remember, I know this is a death by euchre thing, but on the just the relationship people have with the broadcaster, I remember I worked at the UGA whatever
that's
state.
Right, I forgot about that.
And-
You worked
and,
at
like, I would see
the
people-
WUOG college radio station.
Right, but then also like I was like for like one semester was in the football stadium, kind of ushering people in just to kind of see what it's like. This was before I was into the Georgia football team, and I would see a bunch of like typically older men would have these headsets, like they're following the action. I guess
Bob, you're talking about Bob.
Yeah, I am that sort of person. Yes.
Right, but it's just weird, like they're able to kind of like follow along to the radio broadcast, which you know you would think there would be a tape delay, but I guess it's not existent.
No, it's super
close.
close because it's radio. It just fucking happens. It goes out.
Okay, but I always
like
thought
a
it was like a
walkie-talkie.
7-second delay. Is that not like where you can dump it?
But
Like-
it's not. It's like a walkie-talkie or being on the phone.
I mean, what are you
Okay.
worried about Larry Munson saying that you need a 7-second FCC delay? It's going to be fine.
But no, I think it was a very big part of like the experience for many people, and I think like to your point about like why the radio element is it makes it like a more intimate kind of dynamic. It's because like you're entirely dependent on the person's voice to explain what's happening. Like on TV, you can mute the damn TV and just watch what's happening. You don't need somebody to tell you what's going on. But on the radio, you need everything to be told to you as far as what's going on.
Yeah, we were watching one of the games over the course of the long college football season, and either our sound bar was fucked up or it was like the middle channel was missing,
couldn't hear
or
them.
we had the wrong, like we were on
Something
movie
wasn't quite right.
or something instead of sports or what have you. And it's like you could faintly hear Herb Street and Chris Fowler sort of underneath everything. But pretty much we were just getting the crowd noise feed, and like you could hear the refs and stuff. And I was like, I was fiddling with it for a minute. I was like, why can't we hear? And I was like, no, it's fine. why bother
need to
fixing
hear.
this?
Hey, you don't need it. Yeah.
You need to hear when there's a penalty, when there's a potential first down, when there's a stop for some reason. You want to know why. But for the most part, shut up. Unless you're going to tell me interesting things, don't describe what's happening. I'm watching what's happening.
Yeah.
Also, I think that people are going to still have the relationships with the baseball people because, like, you watch Braves on whatever fucking Bally's or whatever it is.
I don't know, Bally's doesn't even exist anymore. It's all
Whatever it is. You have your local broadcast crew. So the baseball teams are going to stay like that. But who listens to football on radio or basketball? Do people like basketball on the radio?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Terrible. I'd rather listen to country music than listen to someone.
No, I used to listen to
talk about basketball on the radio.
the old days driving around Athens delivering
Yeah, you
pizzas.
did.
I'd be listening to like Lady Dogs basketball.
Just because you like Jeff Dantzler.
Jeff Dantzler calling the Lady Dogs basketball games. That's tough. Scott Howard too used to call. He was the basketball guy before he fully took over for Munson on the
Liz
football
Dalton
end.
came into my restaurant once, and she was a talk radio person, right? Liz Dalton.
I don't remember. Is that
She
a
was
name
an Athens,
from Athens
talk
radio?
She was on in the morning
No,
after
no
Tim Bryant.
Bryant.
No, but
Tim
she
Bryant was a
came
real
in.
son of a bitch. I had some interactions with him on Twitter. You real stupid motherfucker.
she came in and she said, I have a reservation. And I said, what's your name? She said, Liz Dalton. I said, Liz Dalton from the radio, Liz Dalton? And she said, you might be the youngest talk radio listener I've ever met.
It's my extremely spiritually old husband or boyfriend at the time is the only reason that you knew.
She was like shocked that I knew who she was. She was like, "What the fuck? How do you know?"
Barbara Dooley used to do a 2-minute segment on the local Athens radio.
Barbara Dooley.
Speaking of, we were discussing what the fuck ever became of Neil Bortz the other day. I Googled it up.
Sherry's berries.
There's some FM conservative talk radio station in Atlanta that is allowing him to call in every day and just do a 15 or 20-minute segment. Or maybe it's once a week for the 15 or 20-minute segment. And then he also gives them like a 2 or 3 minute Bortz Blast where he just gives his thoughts on the news of the day. And I listened to one of the 15-minute segments and it was unbearable because it's local Atlanta, like conservative bro dudes trying to discuss the news of the day with Bortz, who's like fucking 80-something at this point.
Yeah.
And also like still has that angry, because he always
Cranky
had
pants.
the cranky old man on the
that
other
was
end
his
of the
shtick.
phone energy, right? Like that was always his thing. But now he's much older. And the one segment that I listened to was like, he said something that they had no idea what he was talking about. Like he made reference to something that they just 5 seconds of dead air happens. And he says, "Are you not keeping up with me already? Have I already left you behind?" It's like, oh, jeez, what is happening here?
Yeah, we remember when Marta used to provide the traffic reports,
Yes.
and they had a lady by the name of Beverly Molander, who was the Marta traffic lady. She'd get the reports from the bus drivers and then repeat it over the radio. And she didn't like the nickname I came up with for her.
Oh, what was it?
Bus breath.
Okay. It's radio. Everybody needs a good nickname, and sometimes you just got to indulge in it.
Yeah, you do.
He had a very, and then I listened to his eulogy for Jimmy Carter. He had very nice things to say about Jimmy Carter. He took Jimmy Carter up. He and the Queen, his wife Donna, took Jimmy and Rosalind up in a hot air balloon out there in Plains one time.
The Queen is she's still hanging around?
Apparently, they're both still alive.
Wow, that's a pretty good run there for both of them.
Yeah. Can you imagine being married to that guy for your whole fucking life?
I might not need to.
Oh yeah, that's your situation. Anyway, Euchre's dead. Also, another sort of uniquely American and profoundly American sort of voice in a completely different sort of way. David Lynch died today.
Oh yeah, what sport he play?
He played the sport of weird movie and TV man.
I don't think I've ever seen his movies.
None of his movies? You've never seen Mulholland Drive?
I never saw it.
Did you see?
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
What was the
Twin Peaks? No.
We watched a season. Didn't we watch a season of Twin Peaks?
You probably watched it while I was asleep.
Yeah. And then it's the one from the 90s with the killer soundtrack.
Dark Highway?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Lost Highway.
Yeah, see, I can name them, but I haven't seen them.
We should probably do some sort of a deep dive on David Lynch stuff.
We have to watch other things first.
He did a short film not that long ago.
I watched that.
That was fucking fascinating and weird as shit. And then, of course, Eraserhead. He did the 80s Dune movie.
I didn't see that.
Elephant Man.
Nope.
Oh, he did the Dune version from back in the 80s.
Yes.
I saw that one too, yeah.
I'm trying to remember what that goofy movie was. Was it on HBO or Netflix or something a few years ago?
Yeah, we watched it. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's asking a lot of me. His stuff is asking a lot of the viewer. And I already give a lot to things that are paying me and depend on me. And I don't love when entertainment asks a lot from me. I would like to be getting.
Yeah. Anyway, I would love to do a deep dive into the David Lynch filmography at some point. Probably on my own, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's just probably not my thing unless you want just like a person to give you something to disagree with. Because I could do that.
All right. Nothing further to say about. Have you seen any David Lynch movies, Abe?
The Mulholland one and then the 80s Dune. I've seen those two.
I don't think I ever saw 80s Dune all the way through. And then Mulholland Drive was great and super fucking creepy and weird. I enjoyed that one a lot. I need to watch Lost Highway again. I watched it in college at some point.
Who's in that? I never even heard of the title.
Bill Pullman, right? The Independence Day Bill, not the Weird Science Bill or Titanic Bill, right? That's Bill Paxton.
Paxton's dead.
James Cameron's
Twister
friend.
Bill.
Yeah, Twister.
That's Bill Paxton.
That's Bill Paxton. Bill Pullman is
Independence Day.
Lost Highway, and it has one of the all-time great 90s soundtracks.
Yeah, the soundtracks I'm familiar with to these things because I was there in the 90s. We're going to talk about sports, though, right?
We are.
I'm tired. I'm just really tired.
What's on that soundtrack? It was. I remember
your favorite bands on that soundtrack.
The Pumpkins are on there with the song. I think the song "I." They had written the song "Ava Adore" for that soundtrack, and Trent Reznor was producing the soundtrack. And Trent was like to Billy, he's like, "Nah, that song sucks. Give me something else." And so Billy turned around and gave him "I," which. Especially like for that soundtrack, "I" is just an awesome fucking song and belongs on that soundtrack. And I love the song "Ava Adore," but Trent probably wasn't wrong about like which one is better and which one is more fitting.
I would say that generally Trent Reznor is going to be right about the movie soundtrack stuff.
Apparently, speaking of, 9 Inch Nails has a new record coming out this year, which is very exciting. Anyway. This is the WGAS News Sports Bag, obviously, and that means we should discuss Quinn Ewers declaring himself for the NFL Draft. Abe, I saw a piece today in The Athletic, which was very much a clickbaity bullshit piece about how, like they make wild claims and then they argue about it amongst themselves. And the wild claim was that Anthony Richardson was going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback next year for the Indianapolis Colts. It was a wild claim. That was the headline that they ran with, even though there were like 6 wild claims all the way throughout this article. The one that they wanted you to click on was about Anthony Richardson secretly being awesome. And then like 5 different Athletic reporters responded to the initial wild claim by the first hot taker by saying, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. This is stupid."
Yeah, this is one where they just you can tell they sent emails round.
Yeah.
The whole idea behind it, there is some logic behind it because he's like a running quarterback and he scored a bunch of touchdowns rushing. The problem is that he's not accurate and also he gets injured a lot, so he can't give you a full season's worth of that.
Here was the crux of the argument was. You'll recall Justin Fields was also bad at quarterback his first couple of years. And I thought for a second, Justin Fields didn't even play this season once Russell Wilson got healthy.
Typically, it's the Josh Allen had a rough first year as far as completion percentage and things of that nature. But yeah, that's a weird comp. He
completed fewer than half of his passes this year when he was even in there. It was under 50%.
The problem is that there's no signs of improvement in the games that he does play in. So it's like, you're basically like...
I bring it up to say that you've got one quarterback on a rookie contract. Quinn Ewers has just made himself eligible to be drafted. Likely not a top round pick, I wouldn't think, but what the hell do I know? Once those quarterbacks start going, people start freaking out, and they're like, well, fuck, it's the second round, and it's only going to cost us $5 million, so let's just scoop somebody up. Do you want Quinn Ewers backing up Anthony Richardson on the Colts next year?
I mean, anything is an improvement over Anthony Richardson, but no. You know what's weird about Quinn Ewers? There was this made-up story that I saw today about Quinn Ewers turning down $8 million to get in the transfer portal and give it one more year. You know, like Carson Beck got $4 million, which was more than anything anyone else has received.
Million.
Right, sure. So let's say you got $3 million, but he's also just had Tommy John surgery, and it's not clear when he'll be ready to go again.
Right. So the unsupported story that I read today with Quinn Ewers is that apparently $8 million was available to him had he stayed in college football for one more year. And I'm looking at like some of the mock drafts. I mean, this is way too soon for that. But like one mock draft has him going Quinn Ewers early in the 3rd round, which if he were to go in the early 3rd round window, the $8 million is more than he would get.
Right.
Right. So that can't possibly be true unless Quinn Ewers believes like I'm going to lift my way to the top,
unless
30.
He just
like,
doesn't want to go to school anymore.
Right, but then what is the okay? So he's going to
None
go
of them
to the.
go to school.
I know,
they're not going to school.
I know,
they go
but,
to the athletic facility, and like they occasionally check in on an online course if they have
I know,
to, if they haven't already graduated.
They're with the same people, in the same place.
But he wouldn't be. He could go anywhere. Like he could go to. He could presumably go make more money at Syracuse or UNC or fucking Florida State or. Like, I don't know, keep naming programs that need a quarterback this year. And, like, he could go make $3 or $4 million probably, at least Carson Beck money, pretty much anywhere in the country. Oregon's going to need a fucking quarterback, right?
And potentially raise your your stock. So, like, you're basically double dipping. You get the money that you were going to get anyways if you were a rookie in the NFL. Plus, you raise your, instead of being a third rounder, you're now a late first rounder. That's more money, right? So it's like you're winning on both fronts. So, like, if that money was available to him, I can't imagine you would want to turn that down unless he honestly thinks through the combine and through other, pro days, and the interviews he does, like he's gonna impress the front offices so much that he'll be like a first rounder by the time April comes around.
I watched I watched a handful of Quinn Ewers highlights today, and the one thing that he does well and better than most college quarterbacks is he has incredible touch. He's got like a feather-light touch on balls when he needs it. 25-yard game securing the overtime game against
Arizona State.
The one that sealed it?
Was that?
Was that final touchdown in that earlier?
Yeah, both of them. So the one to Golden and then the one also to the tight end are both like nice little touch balls because the guys have beaten their man, right? And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do,
right?
Is to put the ball right where it needs to be, and they're not like he's not trying to throw it at 105 miles an hour. It's just a perfect little touch pass for a pretty good gain. Like it's not like he's just not a little dumpy screen or something that's a touch pass, but he seems to have a very good feel for feathering the ball in there lightly when it's necessary. But other than that, like in terms of like if I'm writing the fucking scouting report, the section on makeup is just pages long about how
but you don't know that.
Also, he's got a weird little like the arm dips down, and sometimes it's because he's throwing a sidearm pass because for whatever reason they do that now. But also he's got like this weird sort of long and low throwing motion that I do not trust when he's going to be going up against like 6.5 foot tall linemen in the next level.
Right.
But whatever. I mean, who knows?
Is he like any worse than Jalen Milroe? Because he's projected to be like an entire round ahead of him. Like he's currently projected to go early in the second round to your Giants, which would be hilarious. But like, is he that much better than Quinn Ewers to be 30 spots ahead of him?
No, I don't. I mean, that's the thing.
They're so different.
Well, they're different quarterbacks, but also this is just a dreadful quarterback class.
Yes.
The only like guaranteed thing that anybody thinks is anything close to a guarantee is Cam Ward, and I don't think that that's anything like a guarantee. That's a guy who's going to run around like crazy and try to make shit happen. But there's some stat I was reading today about Pat Mahomes and the fact that no one who's drafted within 6 years of him has won a Super Bowl or something like that, right? Like he's the only one.
Won them all.
Yeah, well, yes, obviously, but also like, can you imagine anyone from this class if Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and whoever else is out there in the NFL these days can't get it done? Do we think Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders is going to be the answer? Of course not.
That is true. Yeah.
Mahomes is 15-3 in the playoff starts, quickly inserted himself into the conversation among the greatest players of all time. Stafford, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers are the only other active full-time starting quarterbacks with Super Bowl victories, but Mahomes has as many rings as the three of them combined. Joe Burrow is the only quarterback not named Brady who has gotten through Mahomes' Chiefs in the playoffs. It's just fucking nuts.
It's crazy how we went from a Patriots kind of run to now a Chiefs run.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for the WGAS News Sports Bag, because fuck it. I've got a little bit of a game for us tonight.
Uh-oh.
Because there's only so much football to discuss, and it will not take very long to do that. And we don't ever get to listen to music on the on cast iron balls. That's more of a cast iron brains sort of thing. But I've decided that what we need here, and perhaps this can become an annual tradition, as long as the same teams don't end up in the national title game every year, is we're going to have a 2025 national title Battle of the Bands, in which I have selected 5 songs from 5 bands of each of the cities that are represented at the national title game.
I thought they were going to be marching bands. I was so excited.
You know how boring it would be to listen to 5 different marching band songs for a podcast audience? Or 10
I know
ultimately?
That I think that making it which is the best marching band is a good contest as well.
Okay, and Ohio State University wins.
That's true.
They've already won
win.
this contest, and there's no point in continuing because they have the best marching band. Anyway, so we've got this year. We've got South Bend, Indiana, and the long and proud musical tradition of South Bend, Indiana, against Columbus, Ohio, and you guys will vote, and I will only vote in the event that there's a tie, since I selected all 10 songs. Some years, of course, this will be a much easier or less difficult game to source songs for. I had to listen to a lot of not great music to come up with 10 songs for this contest. If I had thought of this a couple of years ago, we could have had Athens, Georgia in there against whomever, and that would have been way more fun,
where's
probably.
TCU?
Where is TCU?
Dallas? Like, where is TCU?
Is it Dallas?
No, Houston. It's in somewhere else.
It's in
and
Texas
then there's who else did we play?
I mean,
Alabama.
If Texas had made the final, obviously there's a ton of great bands out of Austin.
So did you limit the selections just to South Bend proper, not like the surrounding areas or the surrounding areas of Columbus? It's just South Bend?
It's bands that identify as of Columbus, Ohio, which has had at various times something of a scene. Apparently.
Yeah, Columbus, no problem there. That's a proper city.
South
but
Bend,
like,
you have to stretch it. Like there's a
Yeah.
couple of bands that are truly of South Bend, and then there's a bunch of people who have been born in or gone through South Bend at various times, and
Gotcha.
you have to maybe
like graduates count. Like if there's a band and they graduated from Notre Dame, that counts.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I will also, as a bonus point system, you guys will be betting on, or not betting,
I'm
but
not betting.
relax. You'll be guessing which of these acts is from which city, right? And so
Just play music.
I'm going to play the music, but also I think it's interesting to see if you can figure out who is from where. We're going to start with probably the 2 most famous bands, and we
Wait,
will.
what is the distribution? Am I listening to, like, are these necessarily not from the same place?
This is round 1. This is South Bend versus Columbus, round 1.
Got it.
I'm not telling you.
Got it. One is from one is from the other.
Right. I'm not telling you which one is which.
Okay.
You will recognize a couple of these songs, but for the most part, this will be new to you, I imagine. Here we go with song number 1. Remember that song at all?
It sounds familiar, but I don't remember it.
This is a very popular trip hop album by RJD2 back in the late 90s or early 2000s, I think. RJD2 also did this song, sort of bonus song here.
Yeah, this one we know. Mad Men.
RJD2 with Ghostwriter is the name of the song, and then A Beautiful Mine is the Mad Men theme. And then we have this song from a band called Humphreys McGee.
And if you see it laying round, it's alright to take it. It's nothing at all, and if nobody saw it, but if the circumstance is right and you're mistaken, can't determine offhand, but I'd say that it's quite a few. Never speak too soon when an idea needs to level. Declarations can be made, won't make them true. And if you don't make room in your backpack for the devil, you'll have the weight of the world lifted off your shoulders too. Now I don't mean to be misleading. Yeah, I would hate to complicate your point of view. And if you really just presume that's my impression now of you, well, there's a lot of ground to cover, and even more that we need to talk through. One day I won't be there when you fall. I know you got a lot that you got to say.
This is hard.
All right, so that's Humphreys McGee. Humphreys McGee is a jam band, ass band, and sort of like a low-rent string cheese incident or something like that.
Yeah, but that was catchy as
That was
fuck.
catchy. That is, as far as I can tell, about their catchiest song, and I went through a few of them to find something worth drilling 90 seconds out of. Because every other video that I clicked on was like fucking 20 minutes long.
Yeah. Well,
And
but
then
that's
it's just
cheating, though,
a
because...
bunch of noodly bullshit.
But now I feel like I'm not voting on the band. I'm voting on the song. You played me two songs.
Yeah, you got to pick between the songs. Do you prefer?
But am I
sample
picking
size.
the band or am I picking the song?
You got to vote as the spirit moves you here, Lori. We're making up the rules as we go along.
It's just such a big difference.
All right, we'll take turns voting. Abe, you have to vote first in round one.
I like actually both of them, but I'm gonna go with this No Diablo. Very catchy.
It's the words, isn't it? You like songs that have words,
Yeah.
and not just the.
Unless it's a theme, like the Mad Men for like a TV show or something, I don't want to hear your words there.
If I had just gone with the Mad Men theme, would you have voted for that one instead?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Obviously. All right, so Abe's voted for Humphreys McGee. Lori,
I don't want to vote.
you have to vote. Which do you prefer?
Well,
Humphreys McGee, No Diablo, or RJD2,
knowing
Ghostwriter?
that the rule is if it's a tie, you have
This
to
is
vote.
shitty. This is so shitty.
I'm gonna go with the other one.
All right, Lori has voted for RJD2.
I love that song. That was great.
Yeah,
that was like theater-like. Like that could be on a stage.
Yeah, it's very. To me, it's
Very melodic.
dispatchy. It's
Dispatchy, but like jazzier. It's great.
Yeah.
But I don't want to listen to an album of what is it? I don't like that band.
Humphreys McGee.
But that song was great. So I vote for the other one. So you have to choose.
Right, it's an easy vote for me. I have a soft spot in my heart for that trip hop stuff. Certainly the best of it, and I will vote for RJD2.
Do we get to find out where everybody's
And it's
from
not
now?
close. You have to guess. This is part of the
Fuck.
game.
I thought I could trick you into forgetting.
Abe, you guessed first on the band, so Lori's going to have to guess first on the city.
I
Which
think
band
that
goes with which city?
The more urban sounding one is Columbus. The trip hop is the Columbus.
Okay, and then Humphreys would be
Yeah.
South Bend. Abe, do you agree or disagree with that assessment?
I have it the opposite.
Got it the opposite. Lori is correct in this case. RJD2 is a Ramble John Crone, better known as musician and record producer RJD2 out of Columbus, Ohio.
Oh.
And then Humphreys McGee is a proggy, jammy band formed in South Bend in 1997 by Notre Dame students.
Nice.
And probably, I'm open to people telling me differently, but I think probably the most recognizable band of South Bend, Indiana. Like I couldn't find anyone else that I was really remotely familiar with. And I have certainly heard of Humphreys McGee before. I'm pretty sure they used to come through Athens.
They definitely came to Athens.
On a regular basis. All right. That's round one. Round one goes to Columbus, Ohio. So Ohio State out to an early lead. Up next is a song called Ebony Glass by an artist named Nancy Pretty, P-R-I-D-D-Y.
In the beginning was the Word, the simplest sound you ever heard. This is the way the world begins. This is the way the world begins. From that sound it came to pass, an earth surrounded by ebony glass. With crystal stars and grass of jade, this is the way the world was made. This is the way the world begins. This is the way the world begins. And from that sound it came to pass, a man surrounded by ebony glass. And the sounds they grew and they grew so loud, they covered the glass with an ebony cloud. Ebony stars.
All right, that is Nancy
Okay.
Pretty. You've Come This Way Before.
And her child.
Or sorry, the album is You've Come This Way Before. The song is Ebony Glass. I like that song. It appeals to me. It has the feel of like Jefferson Airplane, some White Rabbit bullshit
With a child.
with a child in there. It's good stuff. Now we have, going up against that song, we have a song called I Ain't Marchin' Anymore by someone called Phil Oakes.
Oh, I marched to the Battle of New Orleans at the end of the early British wars. The young land started growing, the young blood started flowing, but I ain't marching anymore. For I killed my share of Injuns in 1,000 different fights. I was there at the Little Big Horn. I heard many men lying, I saw many more dying, but I ain't marching anymore. It's always the old to lead us to the wars, always the young to fall. Now look at all we've won with the saber and the gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? For I stole California from the Mexican land.
All right, there we have Phil Oakes. I Ain't Marching Anymore. Some very a couple of sort of folksy,
Very folky.
battle of folksy types. This is.
I don't think they like to battle. You shouldn't say that.
You can, of course, check out the Substack, brainiron.substack.com. I'll link to all of the videos we're playing. This has got such a fucking 60s feel to it. This is a well-dressed
Is it
man.
not from the 60s?
It is literally from the 60s.
Yeah.
A well-dressed man holding an acoustic guitar, playing sort of in the round, like surrounded by hippie-looking types. That's that song. I'd never heard of Phil Oakes before, nor had I heard of Nancy Pretty. Lori, you have to vote. Which of those two songs do you prefer?
Do I prefer?
Don't you just have to pick.
I think the second one I prefer.
Okay, Lori's voting for Phil Oakes. I Ain't Marching Anymore. Abe, who you got?
That make that 2 for Phil Oakes.
Oh, really? Man, that's too bad.
It's just I have a soft spot like you for trip hop, the Irish music.
Yeah,
and that's an Irish guy.
A little bit of that. All right, what did we do last time? Did we make the other person guess the city first? All right, so Abe, you got to guess which artist belongs to which city here.
I'm going to go that Nancy What's-Her-Face is from the Ohio State.
Okay, which would leave Phil Oakes for South Bend. Lori, where do you think these people...
Because he sounds Irish. Yes, same, I agree.
Gotcha. You are both wrong. Nancy Pretty was born in South Bend in 1941, while Phil Oakes was a student at Ohio State in the early 60s who described himself as a singing journalist, saying he built songs from stories he read in Newsweek. He sounds like a bit of a commie to me. So.
Yeah, it's folk music. That's the idea.
All right, that leaves us already. We've got Columbus, Ohio, and Ohio State University up 2-0 in our Battle of the Bands. Round 3.
3 out of how many rounds?
5 rounds.
I'm tired, Bob.
Jesus, come on, we're having fun here.
I know, but I'm tired.
The days are short and the nights are long. Where they walk and I walk, they twist and I'll twist. They shimmy and I'll shimmy. They fly and I'll fly. Well, they're out there having fun in that one California sun. Well, I'm going out west, out on the coast.
All right, that's a song called Let's Have a... Sorry, the name of this song, I keep doing this. The song is California's Sun. The band is the Rivieras. Very much that sort of 60s surf rock feel going on there. We will now listen to another song. That is Attack with the song Stick Stickly. A promising first 40
That's
seconds.
how screamo music is. It starts good, and then they start crying.
That fucking screamo shit happens, and it's like, it was fine. Like, it was going to be some cool 90s metal shit, and then somebody stuck fucking emo music on top of it, and it turned out it fucking sucks ass.
That was a poor choice. Whoever decided that.
No, that's a whole genre. It's screamo. It sucks.
Attack. That's attack. Second word.
I remember
attack
them now.
with an exclamation mark, and then the song is called Stickly. So I didn't research this band any further to find out if this naming convention like maintains, where they have a word and then a second word is the same word but slightly modified.
Yeah.
Whether in terms of punctuation or suffix. Right. But I hope so. I hope all of their songs,
at least for one album, right? I mean, you don't want to do this forever.
Right. Probably not. All right. So that's Attack with Stickly versus the Rivieras with a song called California's Sun. Lori, your turn to vote. No, Abe's turn to vote first. Who you got, Abe?
By the way, I think this is the highest view count so far, right? 18 million. That's
a big number. Big number for Attack.
I'm going to go with the other group, the Rivieras, because, I mean, the first 40 seconds I would have gone with Attack, but I'm going to go with the Rivieras.
All right. Lori?
Yeah, the 60s band is way better.
Yes, I enjoyed the surf rock California Sun by the Rivieras. Also, that would have been my vote were it necessary to have a tiebreaker. Lori, your turn to guess which town is represented by which band.
The bullshit 90s band has to be from the South Bend.
All right, so Lori's got
Not has to. It's
Attack
just a guess.
from Ohio. Abe.
No. Attack from South Bend.
Oh, I thought you said that the bullshit 90s band was going to be from Ohio, the bad place.
No, I meant like not as good to live in. I don't know. I think that Attack's from South Bend and that the surf rock band is from Columbus, Ohio.
Gotcha. Abe, thoughts?
I'm gonna say I don't want to shit on Columbus, but that weird emo stuff sounds like a Columbus type of music. So I'm gonna say Attack Columbus.
Abe is correct in this case. Okay. Attack is an American metalcore band.
Yeah, sure.
Metalcore.
That's screamo bullshit. That's not metalcore. I don't know what
metalcore
is, but that's screamo bullshit.
It's all the same.
From a northeastern suburb of Columbus, right outside Columbus, Ohio.
South Bend is on the board now.
Whereas the Rivieras were made up of teenagers from South Bend Central High School. Originally called the Playmates. They had to change their name from the Playmates because there was already another band called the Playmates. This was apparently before Playmates was a known thing. And they renamed themselves after the Buick Riviera, the car.
Oh, okay.
All right. So that's now 2-1. We've got South Bend trying to make a comeback here as we head to round 4. And we are going to listen to a song called Get on the Bus. And the artist is Royal Crescent Mob. Who says you can't write a fucking song? If you think you can't write a song, take Royal Crescent Mob and their hit "Get on the Bus" as inspiration. That you too can write the lyrics to a fucking song.
Yeah, but I don't because I'm polite.
All right. Now we have something called Ted Leo and the Pharmacists.
I know Ted Leo.
You do know Ted Leo, I bet. He eventually married and worked with Amy Mann, I believe, is his main claim to fame, is that he's Amy Mann's husband.
I was into indie music for quite a while.
When the cafe doors exploded, I reacted to you. Cast a tub that sunny morning, I was coming to, but now I'm coming to. I'm coming to.
Mighty Sparrow by Ted Leo and the Pharmacists. I'd like to apologize. I suggested that he had married Amy Mann. They just worked together. They formed an indie rock duo called The Both. He is otherwise married, apparently happily so. So I don't want to put that out there in the world, that there was some sort of romantic entanglement there necessarily. I forget who's supposed to vote first. This is
what
round
song is it?
4. So Lori is supposed to vote first.
Ted Leo, obviously.
Lori goes Ted Leo. Abe, will it be indie rocker Ted Leo and the Pharmacist, or that punk stuff Royal Crescent Mob? Get on the bus.
I feel this is not a very fair round. It's a pretty clear difference. Ted Leo.
That is correct. It's definitely Ted Leo and the Pharmacists. Let's see, Abe's turn. Abe, how do you situate these bands geographically?
I'm just going to take a wild guess because I can't make sense of it, but I'm going to say Ted Leo, Columbus.
Lori?
Yeah, same.
Incorrect. Ted Leo was born in South Bend, Indiana. Royal Crescent Mob was an American four-piece punk, funk rock band from Columbus, Ohio, formed in 1985. All right, finally.
2-2, right?
It is 2-2 heading into the final round. I could not have scripted this any better. Next up, we have the following. Abe, you mentioned earlier the number of views. What was the number that you said?
16 million, I believe, is the high watermark.
Attack had like 16 or 18 million, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Take a look at this.
Holy shit.
This is the band 21 Pilots. This song,
oh my God,
they're famous,
has 3 billion views.
Holy shit.
I hear this song every day.
3 billion can't be wrong.
Stressed Out. I'm positive I've heard this song a dozen times, and yet I might as well be listening to it for the first time.
Oh, this is a very well. Yeah, I've heard of this a million times.
I wish I found some better sounds no one's ever heard. I wish I had a better voice and sang some better words. I wish I found some chords in an order that is new. I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what people think. My name's Blurry Face and I care what you think. My name's Blurry Face and I care what you think.
All right, that's 21 Pilots, Stressed
You didn't
Out.
even get to the chorus.
I
though.
mean, but all right, fine. Why?
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. We're stressed out. Sometimes a certain smell will take me back to when I was young. How come I'm never able to identify where it's coming from?
I don't get it. I don't know why it has 3 billion views. I don't know why that fucking, like, I guess it's slightly more interesting than Imagine
Catchy.
Dragons, but it's like
It's catchy.
it is. It is only vaguely more interesting than Imagine.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, not.
That was that's your first entry. Song number 2 is the following.
This is the game I thought I was getting.
That is the University of Michigan fight song. It is entitled The Victors, and it was written by someone named Louis Elbel. Louis Elbel? I don't know. University of Michigan fight song written by Louis Elbel versus 21 Pilots, Stressed Out. Abe, which one do you prefer?
You're telling me that the University of Michigan fight song was written by somebody possibly from Columbus? Like, there's no way that's true, right? So
from either Columbus or South Bend is what I'm suggesting. Yes.
I know that's not the first question. The first question is the preference. I've always been big fan of this fight song above all the others, so I'm going to say I'm going to go with the victors over 21 Pilots.
Lori?
Yeah, same.
Yes. I also agree, though I don't have to vote. Now, Lori, you have to decide which artist is from which town.
I think the Pilots are from Columbus.
Pilots from Columbus, which would leave Louis Elbel from South Bend, Indiana. Abe, what do you think?
The thing is, like, there is just... If the guy was from Columbus, I would have heard about it. Like, I mean, there's no way that would not have been, like, a thing. Like, the fucking guy from Columbus came up with a song from Michigan. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Lori's thing. It's the Michigan song is from somebody from South Bend.
That is correct. Louis Elbel was born in South Bend, Indiana in 1877 and would go on to the University of Michigan, where he would eventually write the fight song.
There you go.
21 Pilots. You can just look at those guys and tell they're from Columbus, Ohio. I think that was an easy one. Also, you know what that means?
All the way back. Were they down?
Down 2-0. Notre Dame has won the inaugural CIB 2025 National Title Battle of the Bands.
That'll make them feel better when they have lost the national championship.
This could be a preview of the national championship, right? Halftime would be like 21-0, thinking it's over.
Right.
And
or 2-2. Final score 2-5.
I will say there were way more bands out of Columbus, Ohio.
Of course there were. There are more people there
than from South Bend. But it was easier to find agreeable music from South Bend than it was to find agreeable music from Columbus, as a general rule. That was closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought for sure I was getting a 4-1 score in favor of South Bend. But yeah, that's fun. That would be cool to do again in the future if I remember that we did that a year from now. All right. We now move on to the CIB Pick'em contest, in which we can also just sort of quickly preview all of the games of the week. We've got games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday this weekend. We'll start with the NFL. Once again, Abe, as you suggested, Houston getting the short end of the stick when it comes to the schedule.
Even when they have a good team that they're going against, they are so bad that they're dragging down Pat Mahomes.
Well, didn't Mahomes didn't they stick the Chiefs on the streamer last year in this round?
Did they?
I think the Peacock game was the streaming was the Chiefs last year.
Oh, interesting. Maybe they're just trying to drum up business. Was that the one that you got crazy about with the weird math that they came up with after, like the most streamed, whatever?
It is. It was, in fact. All right, we've got Houston at Kansas City. This is, at the moment, an 8-point game, according to ESPN. Kansas City has played a bunch of very close games against a bunch of not as good teams, seemingly, this year. They had to survive.
Yeah.
Scratching and clawing a number of times this season.
I forget how many of them were one-possession games, but it was like a lot.
Yeah. And then Houston, while not great this year, C.J. Stroud sort of came back to earth a bit. Certainly has the defense to keep them in any game, it would seem, especially since, last year with Kansas City, it was the drops, I think, that they had problems with. They couldn't find a fucking wide receiver who could catch a ball. This year, the offense just hasn't quite seemed to work as well as it has in years past for whatever reason, including Kelsey having something of a down year himself. As I said, an 8-point game, an over-under of just 41.5 points. So not a high-scoring affair, seemingly. Who you got in this one, Abe?
I think Kansas City should win, but when I made the pick, it was 7.5. So I'm going to assume that the Texans are going to keep it close because the Kansas City Chiefs are not like that dominant. Like, they're better than Houston, but it'll be like a 3-point game, 4-point game kind of thing. So I'm going to say Texans and the points.
Yeah, I'm going to take Texans and the points also. And Cousin Steve got in when that number was all the way up to 8.5. So he's got an 8.5-point advantage for the Texans. Lori has just selected the Chiefs outright.
I think they might win.
Which is fine. I should also, a top line here, I should mention our current leaderboard. Abe, you have taken over first place in the CIB Pick 'em game.
Congratulations, Abe. What an end to the season you're having.
That's right.
You have 60 points to Cousin Steve's 55. I believe I said on the last episode that you guys might end up tied if the Rams won. That was incorrect. The true figure is 60 points for Abe, 55 for Cousin Steve, 50 points for me, certainly within striking distance here. And then Lori, well in the caboose.
I just don't want to be doing
with
this.
29 points because she has elected to stop picking games against the spread and simply pick games straight up, which is leaving her with like 2-point wins when she's winning it all. So.
It's a strategy that reminds me of what is that game where you have to like give clues and say like 3,
Yes.
like is it password or whatever?
Codename.
Codename, yeah. So like codename, my strategy is just like just 1 or 2. Like eventually
Right.
this will
give one word and then say there's only one card that applies.
Right.
Yeah, that's what Lori's doing here.
I don't like doing this. I just want to watch the football
All
and
right.
see what happens.
Saturday evening on Fox, the Washington Commies against the Detroit Lions. Now a 9.5-point game, according to ESPN Bet. Hottest ticket of the weekend, according to this ESPN list anyway. $350 to get in the door there at Ford Field in Detroit. 8 o'clock game Saturday night. Who you got, Abe?
So, again, this is one of those, because of the points, I'm going to take the Commanders, but I expect the Lions to win. It'll just be like a close game. There was some stat about the quarterback for the Commies, Jane Daniels. He had like 3 games where he did not give up a turnover, and he scored a bunch of touchdowns, like something that no one else has done, like some weird stat where like because a lot of people are thinking like, oh, the team is kind of building him up, but like he is uniquely good. Like
he's just been really
great.
good. Yeah.
He won the Heisman last year.
Cousin Steve's got the Commies plus 9.5 somehow. I've got the Commies plus 8.5. Lori has taken the Lions outright.
I think they might win.
It would be very funny to me if the Commies beat the Lions.
I hope that the Washington football team wins as I wear my Washington football team sweatshirt.
Nice.
A couple of very sad fan bases at this point, and the Lions have had some hope instilled into them in the last couple of years.
The Washington team does not deserve to win here. They need to suffer a little bit more and build it up a little bit more, but I would be so happy for them.
It would be so sad if in this round, either the Lions or the Bills, after building them up this whole regular season, if they don't even make it to the conference championship weekend.
Yeah. All right. Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock on NBC. The Los Angeles Rams, fresh off a big victory, as though they were fighting for 9/11 victims or something with the Los Angeles fires. They come out on top and ruin Sam Darnold and Jimmy Carter's
your parlay.
How
of
much
the week.
money do you think Sam Darnold cost himself over the last 2 games? Because like he didn't
in
have
just
a very,
2 weeks, probably $100 million.
Right? Because like he ate shit against the Lions in the game that they could have had a bye. Like they could have avoided the embarrassing defeat. Like if they had won that game, they lost, and then now they got eliminated. Just an awful 2-week stretch.
No, he probably could have signed like a Kirk Cousins-esque contract coming out of this season.
This is also exciting because
no
we get to find out who's playing in the games we're watching in Vegas.
That's right. The results of this weekend will determine
the conference weekend.
The conference championship games that we're going to be watching with the rabble in Vegas. Rams, Eagles. The Eagles had another good year after having a middling year last year where they lose like 10 games in a row or something silly like that at the end of last season.
Right.
10.
It wasn't 10, but it was a lot of games in a row. This is in Philadelphia. The line is nearly a touchdown. Who you got, Abe?
So I think I entered Eagles before I even knew what the spread was. It's 6.5. So I'm gonna Eagles 6.5. They should cover that easily, no problem.
Okay, so you're taking Eagles minus the 6.5.
Yes.
For no good reason at all, I am taking the Rams. This is not because I think that the Rams are a better team, but I assume that they are still on that high from fighting for the people of Southern California. They're going to do what's best for their fellow Southern Californians and take out the rotten Eagles. I know Saquon had an awesome year, And fuck that guy. I don't care for him any longer. He's an Eagle. I don't like that coach Sirianni. He's an unpleasant human being. Did you just break a glass?
What was that?
I hit some. No, the glass is intact. Just my phone hit it.
Oppa!
The Eagles are -6.5 for you. Also, Cousin Steve is taking the Eagles -6.5. Lori's taking the Eagles straight up. And I'm going to take the Rams as the money line underdog, even though that seems unlikely. But, game on the line, give Matt Stafford the ball or give Jalen Hurts the ball. I'll take Matt Stafford and the Rams. Fuck it. All right, moving on to the game of the weekend, or I guess it would be the game of the weekend if there weren't a national title game on January fucking 20th. The NFL game of the weekend, though, is the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Buffalo to play the Bills. They are a road favorite still. This game opened with the Ravens as like a 1-point road favorite, and it is still that after a week of betting going on. I wonder what the late big money is going to do to that line. I wonder if I imagine that's going to tick in one way, in one direction, a half a point or a point or the other as kickoff approaches on Sunday at 6:30 on CBS. Which of these two franchises is going to have to go and deal with Patrick Mahomes, Abe?
So in the regular season, the Ravens won comfortably against the Bills, 35-10. That's the only reason why I think that the Bills are underdogs at home, because it doesn't. I don't understand it. I'm assuming the Bills are going to win. I'm pretty confident that they will win it. I'm expecting a Lamar Jackson, Peyton Manning-like performance. He's going to start fucking it up somehow. Like, I don't know how, and Derrick Henry won't be able to overcome the fuck-ups. So I don't know if the money, as you say, is going to break towards the Ravens or towards the Bills. But, like, I just can't see the Bills after this whole thing this year losing immediately, or losing in the second round, rather. So I'm gonna go with the Bills.
You can't see it. I can't see it. Cousin Steve can't see it. Lori can't see it. All four of us are on the Bills, which means the Ravens are going to win by 3 scores. Would anyone like to change their bet now? No.
Where are they playing it?
They're playing in Buffalo.
Hey.
And all four of us are on the Bills. All right, cool. And then as a quick preview, Abe, will Josh Allen and the Bills finally get over the hump and beat the Chiefs the following week?
If they make it through this one, then yes.
Oh, wow. You still think Bills-Lions?
Yeah, I want it to be Bills-Lions because in that case, then one of these shitty franchises are going to win a Super Bowl. Like, there's no possible way that the Pat Mahomes will win again, or if anyone else makes it, they'll win. Like, if it's just the Lions, or if it's just the Bills.
Nobody loses a game quite like the Detroit Lions does. This is something that I used to text my old buddy John Ford about. The way that they lose games is unlike any other NFL team. Like, it just seems like
the Vikings and the Falcons are also up there, and just like, how did you lose that kind of game?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I mean, the Lions have had. I don't even know when the last time they won. Like,
but if I had to pick, which seems more physically impossible? Like, the Bills winning a Super Bowl seems physically impossible because, like by which I mean it is against the physics of the universe for the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl, and that's probably a function of the fact that as I first became a football fan, I was watching the Bills. Like, I just thought what happened in football was the Bills lost the Super Bowl. I thought that was just
like the Super Bowl was somebody versus the Bills, and then the somebody wins.
Right, like the Bills
what Super Bowl was.
The Washington
Generals, the Globetrotters' opponent,
the Generals, right?
Yeah, the Washington Generals.
Yeah, you know, even if they were to clear the hurdle that is the Kansas City Chiefs, they can't be comfortable because they, like as you say, they've made it to the Super Bowl plenty of times and lost, right? So just making it to the Super Bowl is not going to give them any comfort. Like, oh, we beat Lamar and Mahomes. Like, it's much tougher to go through the AFC. We should be able to win in the Super Bowl, and then they'll find a way to lose.
Can you imagine you beat Lamar Jackson, you beat Patrick Mahomes, and then you lose to Jared Goff? That's what you have to live with for the rest of your life. You lost to Jared Goff. All right, so we're all on the Bills. But we've got enough variance here to keep the game interesting, I believe.
I mean, it's going to be interesting.
No, the CIB Pick'em game interesting. I mean, all right, and then Monday night, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. We have witnessed the second swearing in of Donald John Trump to become the 47th president of the United States. And we are hopefully still sober enough to take in a football game after dealing with that during the lunch break. Ohio State is a 8.5-point favorite. They opened as an 8.5-point favorite. I think I saw it as a 9.5-point game.
It went down at some point.
A 9.5-point game before the matchup was decided. Like the future expectation before Notre Dame even won was Ohio State minus 9.5. Who you got in this one, Abe?
So I guess I'm going to be wrong a lot this weekend because I have a lot of games where I'm picking the other team to win outright, but I have it being close enough to where I'm taking the points. So once again, I expect Ohio State to win, but I don't think that they'll run away with it. Somehow Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman will keep it close, so it'll be like a respectable loss. So I'm going to say Notre Dame plus 8.5.
And you are the only one picking Notre Dame. Lori's got Ohio State straight up. Cousin Steve and I both are laying the points for Ohio State. I just don't see how this Notre Dame, if Ohio State, their offense gets rolling, which I have every reason to expect that they will, because does Notre Dame have a front seven that's as good as Texas's is in terms of being able to shut the run down?
No.
And then force Will Howard to make all of the throws? I don't think so. And I don't think that Notre Dame can hang with them if it turns into a shootout. If Ohio State goes out there and puts 2 touchdowns up in the first quarter, I don't think Notre Dame is matching them. Ohio State's got way too many dudes on defense to be able to keep up in that sort of a game. So I just don't see how Notre Dame can keep this one respectable.
And Notre Dame is injury plagued. I think there were a couple of more injuries that were announced over the last couple of days. By the way, and this is not me wishing ill or death on anyone, but I can't believe Lou Holtz is still alive. Like I saw him make some post about like this game. He's a big Notre Dame guy, but like he's still hanging around.
He said something about he was going to be there in spirit, but now he's going to drag his broken physical body all the way down there.
Great.
Oh, it's coming to Atlanta.
Be in the stadium.
Oh, maybe I'll see him.
He said, "I'm going to drag my body along," which is great.
He probably.
Like
I know he's probably delusional, but like. It must be like a big ask, a very taxing experience for him to come all the way down here. And if it's like the game is well in hand by halftime, like it's going to look silly.
Well, especially if Ryan Day tries to find him in the stands or along the sideline afterwards.
He won't be in the stands. He'll be in a bed.
What the fuck is Ryan Day's deal?
He sucks.
Where he's like, where's Lou Holtz now? Fucking come at me. It's one thing to say, come at me, I'm a man, I'm 40, when you're talking to a fucking 27 or 30-year-old
or
sports
even a
reporter.
50-year-old.
When you're saying it to a fucking 93-year-old or however old that Daffy Duck motherfucker is. All right. It's now time for Jimmy Carter's presidential lock of the week. It is our closing lock of the week of the season. We won't hear from President Jimmy Carter again until next fall when we bring him back as our college football picker.
Hello to my dear friends at Cast Iron Balls, and also to Abe. I'd like to start by saying what an absolute delight it has been to chat so amiably with your fine little podcast these past few months. And what an eventful few months it has been for me personally, as you may have read about in the paper. But really, any chance I get these days to check in with someone besides that camera-hungry grandson Jason of mine is a thrill, and to be able to talk college pigskin with such knowledgeable friends, and also Abe, is the whipped cream on top of a perfect peach cobbler. So thanks for that, and do kindly eat all the shit, Abe. But any which way, though I was skeptical about the expanded college football playoff, there's certainly no denying that the semifinals produced a couple of classic games. There have been precious few good and competitive national title games in the playoff era, But maybe the expanded format will allow the best teams to prove out and we'll get a decent game here and there. One can hope. On the other hand, Rosalind used to tell me to hope in one hand and pray with the other, and then to get my ass aside and get to work because neither hopes nor prayers ever put food on the table without a little help. Ohio State Buckeyes coach Ryan Day sure acts like he wants to get into a fist fight with Lou Holtz, who may well be even more dead than I am. This is a spiteful man with very intense short guy energy. The kind of guy who might show you his Ron Johnson and then dare you to say something less than wholly complimentary about it. Not a pleasant fellow, but that team. I'd love to pick the Irish, all the Catholicism aside, but I just don't think they have what it takes to keep this one close to the fourth quarter. My final lock of the season is there for the Ohio State Buckeyes over Our Lady 8.5 points. As always, enjoy the games with good food and drink, and most importantly, good company. May God bless this great nation and this great podcast. Until next season, this is Jimmy from Plains Sportcast, Iron Balls.
So Jimmy is also on the Bucks.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just don't see how this can go any direction besides the direction of humiliation as it went in 2012.
What if somehow the Irish won? What do you think happened? Like the Ohio State just kind of imploded, a lot of turnover, some sort of like.
Will Howard throws a couple of picks if Notre Dame's gonna win this game. Maybe a fumble also from Love or the other running back that. Not Love. Love is on Notre Dame. From Quinshon Judkins or whoever else they've got. Yeah, Ohio State has to make mistakes.
You're not imploding, but if they make mistakes and Notre Dame takes advantage of them and doesn't make any mistakes in return, like
I think Ohio State can play a C+, B- game and still win this game. If like Notre Dame plays their A+ game. All Ohio State has to do is have their B- game, right? Like it's not like they have to play the way that they played in the first couple rounds of the playoffs to win this game. They can just be good enough. And it's weird in part because neither one of these are quarterbacks who you expect to throw the team on their back and carry the team, right? Like these are
one has a very feminine face and one has a very like baby face, lady face and baby face.
Will Howard, I'm guessing, is the lady face.
Obviously, he looks like a lesbian.
Yeah. There was a girl in my middle school. I think her name was Liza. That rings a bell. People would pick on her and say that she and I looked the same. It was very rude of them. It was a way of putting both of us down. It's a similar insult to what you're saying about Will Howard having
not being insulted. I'm saying
lesbian face.
Will Howard has a very ladylike face, and the other one, Riley, looks like a little baby boy. And this is why we have beards. This is why men grow beards to hide these things.
Look what Quinn Ewers did with his stupid stupid
Ewers
Mennonite
would look better
beard.
without a beard. People should listen to me.
Quinn Ewers with his fucking cousin Mose from Dwight Schrute's cousin Mose beard that he's got. That beard sucks ass. Hey, what kind of game do you think it's going to be? If
I'm thinking somehow it's going to be a close game, because it seems so obvious. Like Ohio State has the edge. Like somehow they're gonna. Maybe they'll buy into that themselves and they'll just kind of start off slow. But if it starts off like, many predict where they take an early 10, 14-point lead, then it'll be tough sledding for Notre Dame.
I saw a stat, and I think Jimmy touched on it there obliquely. The average margin in the national title game in the playoff era is over 20 points.
Yep.
Like if you just add up all of the
But that's there's been a couple of. Have there been any close games? I mean, there've been a few, right? But that TCU Georgia game.
Us and Bama.
Didn't Clemson get into a close one?
Yeah, was not a close game. The Clemson game, many years ago.
It was 2018-33 when we beat Bama, which wasn't. It was closer than that, but.
let's see. Going back to 2014, Ohio State 42-20 over Oregon. Bama 45-40 over Clemson. That was the one that I was thinking of. And then Clemson the next year 35-31 in return. And then Alabama Georgia was 26-23. But then we've got 44-16 Clemson over Bama. LSU 42-25 over Clemson, Alabama 52, Ohio State 24, Georgia 33-18, Georgia 65-7, and then Michigan 34-13 over Washington last year. So yeah, a few, like 3 reasonably close games, and then the Georgia 33-18. Obviously, to us, it felt like a nail biter down to the last second. It wasn't, though, really. Like I think that any other rational, objective observer of that game, by the time it got late, was like, "Oh, Georgia's going to win this thing." We were just all convinced that there was 0% chance that Nick Saban wasn't going to come back and steal it from us in the end.
There was, after Keely Ringo picked it off. There was 0 chance, but before that, it was not 0.
Yeah. I mean, as you always say, going into these things, you just you hope it's an entertaining game, and I certainly.
And
hope
if it's
that.
not, we get to go to bed.
I'll be rooting like hell for Notre Dame, obviously, because it would be way more fun for Notre Dame to win than for Ohio State to win this stupid game.
There was, I don't know how reliable this is, but there was some graph that I saw earlier today about like breaking it down by state support, and like only 2 states supported Ohio State: the state of Ohio and West Virginia. Like every other state in the country, they're rooting for Notre Dame.
Why is West Virginia with Ohio State? I don't get it.
Because a lot of people in West Virginia and Ohio are very close, and West Virginia kind of sucks. So they pick up Ohio State as the team to root for.
Jimmy touched on something that I'm not sure that I'd noticed about Ryan Day until the last month or so, which is his smallness. In like as a person, he just seems like a very insulted person. He seems
obviously,
and not in the way we're like, because Kirby's always doing it's
very different.
Everybody's writing us off, saying that we don't stand a chance.
Kirby's
that
like
sort of
Alex
thing.
Jones.
But Ohio State versus the world is a very different feeling than like when Kirby does Georgia versus the world. It doesn't feel quite so whiny and bitchy and I would describe them as having both Yankees fan energy and Red Sox fan energy kind of rolled into one.
Right.
Where they're both, because they're this fucking behemoth of college football, right? Like they're a blue blood program. They're fucking awesome. They have the massive stadium with millions of fans, big money and the best marching band in the world, and they're fucking great. And also, they're just like, they're so fucking put upon. They're such fucking whiners. I hate the fan base. And I know that's rich coming from any other college football fan base. We are all obnoxious and awful to
but we're in different ways. It's different ways.
There's just something so deeply unpleasant about that group. Anyway, you've been listening to Cast Iron Balls, a podcast with Bob and Abe. It's about sports, and Lori's here too. Check us out on Substack, brainiron.substack.com for more from us. Also, tetramermusic.com, TETRAMER music.com for more from Marc Gillig, who composed our opening and closing themes. Abe, anything else in the world of sport catch your eye this week?
Yeah, last week during the Eagles-Packers game, there was some footage that came from the stands. There was some incident where a drunk, obnoxious Eagles fan, which there's plenty of them. By the way, remember last time I think I mentioned
you can't call them that.
There was a fatal hit and run with an LSU player, and he was driving a Dodge Charger. I cast aspersions towards the Dodge Charger. There was another incident where
another Dodge Charger. Yes.
Yeah, and so the Dodge Charger of sports fans.
That's the LSU quarterback,
the backup
right?
quarterback, yeah.
No.
But I was thinking the Dodge Charger of sports fans, Eagles fans.
Is the Eagles?
Yeah. So this
the LSU quarterback who they found him unresponsive after I think it was a single car
Garrett
crash.
Nussmeier?
No, the freshman backup this year. Some 17-year-old.
Yeah,
kid.
he's barely an adult. He's not even an adult. Yeah.
Don't give a fucking 17-year-old a Dodge Charger. That's not smart.
No, it's not. But going back to the Eagles, incident, this guy, somebody's recording him, and he's like just hurling just very vile things to this woman, this Packers fan, just like calling her all kinds of names. And he's being recorded. He knows he's being recorded. And he didn't look so sloppy drunk that he's like blackout drunk. But, you know, if you're like...
he's been recorded saying worse things to his own mother. So he doesn't have any... Like, the fact that he's being recorded
it did not bother him at all. But, like, you would think, okay, 2025, I mean, we've had many, many years where everybody's aware of the technology that exists and these social media platforms. Like, your face can go online pretty quickly, and all the sleuths online will suss it out and will figure out where you work, and you'll be fired. And that's what happened. Like, this guy was talking all kinds of shit, and he didn't care, and it's like blah blah blah. And then his company.
Do you have the video handy? What is the? Here we go. I got it.
Oh, you got it.
Leave it to the New York Post sports account on YouTube to have this for me. You won't believe what this Eagles fan said to a Packers fan. Warning, explicit content.
I don't think they get to tell me what I believe about Eagles fans. I'll believe it.
After reviewing the play, the runner was short of the goal line. They got one more yard though. They're close. Yeah, but they're not in. It's not a touchdown. Yeah. So you don't drop in the air. Okay, well, don't call her. Don't. She's an ugly dumb. Cool. After the third quarter. Yup.
The censored word was cunt, by the way.
Right, I was going to say, why are you so afraid to say ugly, dumb cunt, Abe? Just say it.
It's better to hear from the original source.
I'll make sure that I find if I can find an unbleeped version.
Where did he work?
That's the one I'll play.
He worked for some consulting group. Initially, they said like he was a DEI consultant, but, you know, people always like throw that onto anything just to make it a better story. I think he was just like a consultant for this company.
Is the hero an Eagles fan? Is the man who's sticking up for... I can't tell, because the jersey that our hero
they're both green.
is wearing here is a white one with green letters, which could be either... It could be... I think it's probably a Packers jersey, though, that he's wearing, right?
Yeah, but it seemed like his I don't know what...
His accent is very much of... Like, the hero's accent is of Philadelphia.
Right. But it's just weird that how, like, she's not really interacting with him. Maybe something happened earlier, but, like, just the vitriol he's hurling towards... And over, like, this rant...
She's a woman, Abe.
Yeah, it's very...
Why is this woman at the football game? Is what is... Like, he was mad the moment a woman in the opposing gear was there.
Right.
Because she doesn't belong at the football game.
Right.
Also, it's fucking super lame to... he's banned from Eagles games.
Yeah, the
also?
Eagles came down hard on him. Yeah, basically they need to create some distance. You know, like I know we have a shitty reputation, but holy shit.
Speaking of, the Yankees and Major League Baseball have banned those two dipshits who ripped the glove off or attempted to rip the glove off of Mookie Betts in the playoffs last year in the World Series.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so those guys won't be allowed back in the stadium.
Are they using this new?
It's not why I don't want to go to football games, but there's a lot of what just happened where there's a confusion about what's going on and discussion about what's going on at the football game.
Can you imagine if we were upstairs just watching the game and there was some confusion about what was happening and I turned to you and I was like, you're wrong, you dumb cunt. It would be...
I mean, I might not have to imagine.
I mean, I don't know how many drink. I mean, yeah, it's just very bizarre that, and it's a recurring thing with Eagles fans. Apparently,
there's no amount of drinking that would convince me
Yeah.
to in person say to a stranger.
To a stranger, yes, you would say it to me, and you do.
I would not like that. And not unless we're playing Dr. Mario.
Yeah, it's not in a football context. It's in a I'm better at you
You know,
better than you at something contest.
Sometimes out west, I think is it either the Dodgers or the Giants fans have a bad reputation for like stabbing people on occasion, but usually like they've lost and they take umbrage at their defeat. But the Eagles were doing well. Like they're up, they're winning the game against the Packers, and the guy is still behaving like a shithead.
But she's a woman.
Yes.
Yeah. Unacceptable.
Yeah.
Fucking chicks, man. This never would have happened if she hadn't fucking decided to go to the football game. That guy would still have his job, for fuck's sake.
I bet you that's his rationalization.
Yeah.
Like she
it's
egged me on. Like
obviously.
Yeah.
Lori, would you like to contribute anything to the sports of the week?
No.
No, not after that, certainly.
Yeah. I know my place.
Abe scared her off. Abe, have you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
Well, I guess that's all we've got for you tonight then, and we will talk to you next time.
Later. This is a good year so far.
So remember the Australian wildfires?
Yes.
In early 2020, and then we thought that was bad.
Oh, that's right. That was 22. That was before the pandemic.
That was right before. We were like, what a horrible start to the year. Can't get any worse.
Well, hopefully nothing like that happens this time.
Or I could use a few months off work.
Yeah.
So.
Although no one's going to follow any rules if it happens again this quickly. It has to be like at least a generation apart. If it happened again, people are like, fuck it. If I die, I die.
People are wearing masks
all
the time.
If we got quick proof that like bird flu was killing 1 in 100 people instead of whatever it was this last time around.
Yeah, like a sobering death fatality rate or something, right?
Or children.
Right, or just period if it's kids. If it's affecting children and not just fucking dying old people.
And they didn't die, and now they're a fucking problem, and they don't know how to do anything, and they complain all the time, and we did COVID wrong. We should have killed the old people.
Imagine some report comes out and says, this sounds very crude, but we should have let the olds die.
That's Andrew Cuomo's comeback pitch in 2028. It's the only one who attempted to murder all of the olds during COVID. That Ron DeSantis tried to keep them all alive and succeeded. I had the stones to try to kill all the seniors in 2020.
Yeah.
No one can take care of them. Yeah. They're a massive chunk of the population.
And who are you mad at right now? What's the
boomers end up?
Isn't there like a thing? There was a report that came out said like in a few years the number of people with Alzheimer's is gonna like significantly grow. So like people will still be alive, but they will need people to take care of them.
Yeah, robots. It's the only answer. The only way we're surviving it is with the robots.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, thank God for the robots. That's how they'll take over. They'll be so needed that people will just let them do whatever. Like, whatever, fine. Take care of it.
Yeah, well, we're taking care of the seniors. I'll bet you are, robots.
I haven't heard from Gramps in a minute. I wonder what happened. Lost in translation. It's like, you told me to take care of it. I did.
Are you doing anything? You're just watching these games at home for the...
Yes, and I'm going to watch an early showing of The Brutalist because it's like 1 million hours long. So before the game start on Saturday, like I think it's like 11 a.m. start just to kind of...
Oh, wow.
Because there's like an intermission. It's like a very long movie.
Those true matinees always felt like very weird and disorienting to me when I would walk out of an early movie.
Yeah.
And it's like 2:30 in the afternoon. It's like, what planet am I on
The
now?
walking out is what throws me... Yeah, you're right. Like once... You're in there, it's like, okay, it's dark, and it could be any time. When you get out of there, like, holy shit, the day's like...
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The correct time to walk out of a movie theater is like 11 p.m., 11:15 p.m., something like that.
Yeah.
Any other time is super fucking weird.
Yeah. All
right.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.